We're live.
All right, Maddie, keep it down a little. Thank you. All right, hey guys, welcome. I was about to say welcome to Acosta Live. Hey guys, my name is Acosta Castleberry. I'm here with the amazing Trevor Castleberry, and we've been going live every day to talk about For the Hustler Volume 3. What's the title, babe? The subtitle?
How to negotiate and get more than you asked for.
Cool. So we've been going over the quotes, and we're on quote 7 today. Am I right, babe?
Six.
Excuse me, quote 6, which I can't wait to get into. But again, my name is Akosua Castleberry. I am the founding CEO of I'm Akosua. I help, I teach women how to build brand authority by publishing books. I'm also a 3-time author of Back to Kukren to Me, Dear Nice Girl, and Why Every Pregnant Woman Should Write a Book, which you can get access to for free at amacoso.com. And without further ado, Mr. Castleberry, please introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and what we're about to get into today.
What's going on, everybody? Trevor Castleberry here, CEO of Castleberry Consulting, where I teach entrepreneurs and executives how to think like engineers. And I also train engineers to turn into entrepreneurs. I'm also the author of the For the Hustler book series, and I'm here promoting For the Hustler Volume 3, How to Negotiate and Get More Than You Ask For. And today is quote 6. Let's jump right in. Today is 10 signs of the analytical negotiator, employee edition, right? So 10 signs of the
Yes.
analytical employee.
Mm,
So
okay.
number one, their job title or job description will include a lot of number crunching, possibly computer software design, or some sort of like spreadsheets, and Excel file updates and maintenance every day. Hold on. Sorry. Uh, yeah, so they crunch their job title. They're going to be crunching numbers, designing software, updating spreadsheets. So this can be accountants, it can be engineers, it can be software developers and computer programmers. It could also be, a librarian or an administrative assistant.
Mm,
Because of the spreadsheets that they have to detail and outline every single day. We getting feedback on your. Uh, Number two,
is it still like
and
that?
kinda, you could
Oh,
just turn your volume down.
all right.
Um, Number two, which is I'll just throw it out there, is there a slimmer body type, right? And this doesn't mean that, and if they're slim, that definitely means they're analytical. But
Mm-hmm.
ideally, if people who are slim are perceived to be more analytical, likely
Wow.
because you just assume that they have almost like a tracker in their mind of their calories, right? So
Mm,
it's one thing if they overeat, right? So they obviously aren't very disciplined with that number of calories that they're going to eat every day, right? Or the amount of workout that they're going to do every day to stay in a calorie deficit
mm-hmm.
or stable calorie number. Um, and also, if they're a more muscular build, that doesn't give you the idea that that'll give you the idea that they're disciplined, but for a completely different set of actions or mindset versus the person who is gonna eat less compared to the person who may eat more just so they can work out more, right? So
Right.
if you would like to make yourself look more analytical, it would be it would be in your interest to be as slim as possible.
Wow.
Uh,
Okay.
Number three, which we all probably know or have noticed one way or another, is wearing glasses, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
so we see you right now without your glasses. Now put them on. If you're watching this, you can judge if you think Akosa looks more analytical, where you trust her more to crunch your numbers and
Put it in the comments. Put it in the
right.
comments.
Comment below if Akosa looks more analytical, more trustworthy with numbers and data and management of a system, right?
Mm,
Least likely to make mistakes. That's really what you're thinking about with analytical people.
mm.
So we have crunches numbers, is slim fit, wears glasses, fourth is the way that they may wear their hair. So again,
Mm-hmm.
this will have more to do with how you'll be perceived than necessarily just assuming if you see this, this is what the person's personality type is. But having your hair pulled back. So you see me now, long locks around my face. You probably look at me and probably don't think this guy is great with numbers, or this guy is much more trustworthy with managing my systems.
Oh my
But
God.
if I were to tie my hair back behind my head, you may hear terms like, oh, it comes across more professional, right? But in all
Yes.
reality, it's just out of my face. And now you trust that, okay, he is more focused on the work he's doing. He doesn't have any distractions, right? So these are the kind of subconscious assumptions often tied to people with glasses or people with longer hair who tie it behind their head. Just think about if you're a woman with long hair and you know you're about to be down looking close at a document, reading the fine print, you're much more likely to take that hair and immediately tie it behind your head, right?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely. For
that thing,
interview as well.
exactly, and all of that really makes you look more analytical. How do we know it's
Mm.
analytical as opposed to the other two? It doesn't make you look more accommodating, right? Because really, it just makes it look like you're about to start working. And
Mm-hmm.
assertive, no one would ever be intimidated by a woman tying her hair or a man tying his hair behind his head.
Right.
So because it's denoted as professional, it's much more likely to be looked at as analytical.
Mm. Wow.
Um,
Okay.
so number five, we have when somebody's negotiating their pay, right? If
Mm-hmm.
they want, if they're justifying their pay based on industry averages for people who work that same position in the company that they're applying to. Maybe they're saying they should deserve more than somebody else because they have additional certifications or licenses and things like that. That's a much more analytical approach to justifying your pay. So even if you're in a job interview and somebody uses those metrics, if you will, to justify you having a higher or lower pay or even the starting number, that's an analytical reasoning. So you can assume that that person is at least in an analytical mindset at that point in time, meaning all you have to do is use numbers to really disqualify the numbers that they're using. And then they
Right.
have no option but to use your numbers in order to make their new assumptions, unless they have a second pair of numbers, which they
Mm.
likely don't because they're analytical, right? So
Right.
deciding pay based on, again, certifications, years of experience, industry averages, and company averages of people who work that same position, analytical. So that's the first five. Number six, the analytical personality type, or in this case, the analytical employee, is much more likely to be skeptical of other people's work. So even when they, let's say you are to receive work from somebody else, they're much more likely to just check it over themselves just to make sure it's
Mm-hmm.
right, as
Right.
opposed to just believing that it's right because it came from a certain person.
Mm.
So even though it'll take more time, the analytical person, here's just a freebie, analytical people will are much more likely to use the extra time to make sure everything is correct,
Mm.
right?
Right.
Um, Number six, the analytical employee is much more likely to bring their lunch from home as opposed to going out to eat with other employees or even going out to buy lunch and bring it back in. Again, that
Mm.
doesn't necessarily mean that just because somebody brought lunch from home, they're analytical, right? Maybe they just really
Okay.
like the food their wife or husband cooks. But
Mm-hmm.
um, if you want to be perceived as more analytical, here's another tool for you. You can just start bringing lunch from home, as opposed to if you don't have bad eyesight. I see a lot of people just wear glasses now that aren't medicated. You don't
Yes.
have to. You
Style.
don't. You don't have to do that. If you like the style, that's fine. But
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have to do that to come across analytical, especially if you're using ones that are like green or blue or red.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't even give off an analytical vibe. It makes you come off accommodating. Uh,
Mm.
versus an analytical person, their glasses will be, clear, white, black, some color that's not catching your attention. That way,
Right.
they're just using it for what they're used for, which is to see, nothing else.
Yes.
right? So
Okay.
seventh, they bring home from lunch, and they're much more likely to sit by themselves or maybe eat at their desk as opposed to going to eat with everybody else.
Mm.
Uh, Number eight, when it comes down to their pay, when it comes down to their pay, they're much more likely to ask for a cost to ask for a salary based on their cost of living, right?
Uh-huh.
Because again, they're going to be numbers oriented. So if you know my cost of living is $48,000, I need a salary that's that plus 50% to make sure after taxes I have enough to cover all of my bills, right? So,
Right.
analytical person is more willing to walk into a job interview and say that versus somebody else may think they don't pay me based off of how much I have in bills. They pay me based off of what they have in budget. So you know what I'm saying? So they're much more likely to go based off some other characteristic or some other fact versus just knowing here's what I have to pay, so here's what I need to get paid in order to live in a way that I can come to work every day, right?
Mm.
So
Mm-hmm.
if you're going for an analytical job like accountant, engineer,
Mm-hmm.
argument like that actually works in your favor. And I've actually used it myself for my last interview or last salary discussion.
Just happened.
Um, letting him,
Oh, okay.
you should be good. Letting director construction know that I'm traveling to New York from Connecticut, so it was a large bump in pay simply to make up for that transportation.
Right.
Versus if I hadn't been as analytical as I am, maybe I don't bring that up, so I don't, it doesn't justify him bumping my pay, 15%.
Mm-hmm.
And the last two, number nine is analytical employee is much more likely to walk away from conflict. So if there was another employee or manager who was much more assertive and possibly even yelling at them, the analytical person is much more likely to turn their back, completely, disengage mentally and just look away, or possibly even get up and leave the room and come back when tempers are flared down.
Mm.
Um, And lastly, number 10, the analytical employee does not care for personal compliments or apologies. So if the analytical employee walks in and you say, "Hey man, I like those shoes," and they're just like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, thanks." They didn't buy those shoes to impress you. They bought them because they're comfortable, right? Or they bought them because they needed a pair of shoes, and those were the first ones they found, or the first ones that were recommended to them. Maybe their wife bought them for them, but they're definitely not buying them to impress you, thinking for you to tell them that they look good, right?
Mm.
And they
Right.
don't care for apologies. So let's say you were someone who was rude to them in a meeting, and you saw them disengage, and you guys left on bad terms. The
Mm-hmm.
next time you meet up with them, don't apologize because they don't care for your apology. You really just have to prove to them or tell them something that proves that you're willing to move forward, so you guys won't still be stuck in that same disagreement as you were prior.
Mm. Wow.
So those are 10 ways to either identify an analytical employee or even be more perceived as an analytical employee.
Mm. Wow. That was really, really good. There are a couple of things that came to mind, but the funniest thing is with the glasses. Like most of our first approach, and I've even talked about this with my mother-in-law. But wearing glasses when you're an adolescent, like there's no analytical aspect involved. It's literally
Right,
all looks. It's literally all superficial. So I wore glasses majority of my life. I think I started wearing glasses in fifth grade, if I'm not mistaken. And I had a neighbor whose daughter also wore glasses, but she wore glasses all the time. As you guys see, I take mine on and off. I I really like it because I can't see far, but I don't like it to see people up close. I can see people up close. Um, but anyway, he told me at a young age, like, listen, don't. He said, don't let these boys tell you that glasses are unattractive or ugly or whatever. Like, wear with confidence. And so that was my like first conversation with an adult having that about glasses, just the way that is perceived. But now out of the adolescence and as an adult, like wearing glasses, I just like the analytical aspect that
yeah,
is associated with it.
they're definitely a plus.
It is a plus. Like it is a plus, and it's just a totally different like realm. Um, but the other thing that I was gonna mention was being analytical. I definitely a lot of the things that you said and listed out of the 10, a lot of them I was doing. I always brought my own lunch to work. Obviously, I wear glasses, and I sat alone for the most part. I know when I was an office admin for the engineering firm I was at, they tried to build, company community by having us eat lunch together, but that did not last. So I was, for the most part, when I was temping, even I ate by myself most of the time. And I'm definitely someone who doesn't like conflict. I talk about that in Dear Nice Girl. But the most like the funniest thing of it all is, those of us who are analytical and don't like conflict, sometimes conflict is necessary, especially, to move forward with situations. And the one thing that I notice is like when you're not a person who likes conflict, but like there's a moment where your choice is conflict, the person on the opposite end most likely will be taken aback or surprised or pissed off about that, which has happened to me, and I find it very interesting. It's happened to me multiple times, just being the person who usually walks away, to then not doing that and actually having the confrontation. Most of the time, people are like pissed about it. But yeah, that's all I wanted to mention and add. I
Yeah.
have some questions for you, Mr.
Well,
Castleberry.
two other things I want to throw in.
Yes.
For anybody confused about the glasses thing, one thing you could look at is the style of glasses that somebody has, the style and or color. If it's something very basic, like what a coaster has, would you mind showing those again?
Yes, absolutely. I'll keep it on for the rest of the video.
Yeah, something basic like that, in a color like black or clear or white, more so black or clear than the white, is you're going to come off much more analytical because the glasses aren't being used to catch anyone's attention. Now,
Right.
if you get the style of glasses that are huge frames, or maybe the top piece, I forget the name of it, but they stick out a little more, almost to make
Mm-hmm.
it look like they're wings or lashes
Mm-hmm.
coming off the glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Those, or even in a bright color like lime green, yellow, red, blue, orange, uh, anything like that, where the glasses are obviously being used not just to see but also to attract attention, you can
Mm-hmm.
assume the person is going to be accommodating, meaning they literally want to be approached to build a relationship with you. So if you're going to a networking event, you don't want to wear your analytical glasses. You want to wear your accommodating or inviting glasses. And then
Mm.
if you and those could be literally the same ones you have on, but in a brighter color or with some
Right.
extra flair on it. If you
Mm-hmm.
were assertive and you wanted to show yourself off as I'm the big boss, only come talk to me if it's worth my time, then you're typically not going to go with any sort of plastic frames. You're going to go with some sort of gold or silver frames, right? Definitely metal frames. That's where you definitely want them to look and obviously be expensive or a specific name brand, because
Right.
the same way they have the term a power tie, they have power accessories, and you can do those
Mm-hmm.
with your glasses.
Yes, you
Different
can.
industries use them different ways, right? So like the hip hop or the hip hop kind of crowd will have what's the shades, the ones that everybody in Detroit wears, where they
Aviators.
no, the
Or
ones
is
where there's no frame around the actual glasses, but the metal piece goes through the glasses and comes
oh,
around.
got you. I don't
I forget the
remember.
name. I know they call them buffs in Detroit, but whatever those style glasses or shades or Cartiers or whatever they are, um, those those would be much more power style. Where really
Mm-hmm.
the single thing you're really looking for is a thick gold or silver frame, or thick metal frames. If they're made out of metal and they're thick, it's because they want you to be the boss. I mean, they want to be perceived as the boss. So there's a way of choosing, eyeglasses based on the occasion or how you want to be perceived.
Yes. I'm gonna have to get me some accommodating glasses then. All right. So, what is your favorite part about the book writing process?
Um, my favorite part about the book writing process. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, well, for me, I write the motivational quote books every time. So those have the 50 quotes and passages and blank pages.
Mm-hmm.
But I think once I get to like once I'm like get to like finishing the first chapter and actually
Mm-hmm.
writing out all the lessons, at that point, like I know that I'm hitting a stride. Usually, the first chapter like is kind of clunky getting through it, but once I get to like the end of the first chapter, beginning of the second, the pen just or the yeah the pen.
Just
I
start
literally handwrite the book.
flowing.
It just starts flowing. Next thing you know, I start finishing off composition books and got to go buy a new
Yes.
one. So I would say
Yes.
get into that second chapter because now I'm able to literally say, all right, Trevor, you are 60% done with the book. And
Which you
my
love.
yeah, I love being able to show progression.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's definitely exciting. But this is my first time, doing the daily lives with my wife and my editor. You know what I mean? So that makes it a lot more enjoyable as well. So I'm glad that was part of the package.
Absolutely. All right. And my last question is just to follow up on the previous one. What is your least favorite part about the book publishing process?
My least favorite part about the book publishing process. Uh the fact that writing a book is not easy. I'm
Mm.
sure you may see articles that show you how to make it easy, or people tell you stuff like, "Oh, just talk your book out into a recorder and
Yes.
then have it transcribed." But like even that isn't as easy as you think it is, right?
Yes.
Putting together the content for these lives is not like making a book. So
Mm.
when it come to writing a book, maybe the first 10, even 20 quotes for this book will be on the front of your brain, but eventually you got to get to 30, 35, 40,
And
45,
dig.
and then
It's like
50,
you gotta
right?
dig and dig
Right.
to
It's
get it.
literally it's
Yeah.
literally like you shoveling whatever you used to shoveling, whether it's dirt, whether it's snow, whether it's manure, whatever. Just imagine you got to literally pick it up every single time,
Mm.
as heavy as it possibly is, to get through each and every one of those quotes. So it's like
Mm.
you end up digging into your subconscious, trying to pull out memories and information you haven't used in a while, or you haven't,
Yes.
or you thoroughly understood it when it was taught to you, but you never took the time out to actually explain it to somebody who knows
Mm.
nothing about it. So you don't even
Mm.
have your explanation, already created, in layman's terms. So
Right.
that's the most difficult part. So I guess I'll call that the worst part. But I'll be honest. Ever since I got the book cover done, I've been happy. So, you know,
Yes.
because once the book cover is done, at that point I could start taking pre-orders, which are available right now at hustlerbooks.com.
Yes. Make sure you guys go pre-order. Oh man, those are great answers. Oh my gosh, because people really think it's easy, and it wasn't until we got into the publishing industry, and I say we because Trevor knows literally the logistics. So he's really in tune with just the operations of publishing, but it wasn't until we got into publishing that like all of these different schemes and do this in 30 days and do this in 24 hours and do this in 48 hours, and that's just not real. Like that's just not real. That's not the reality of what comes with writing a book. And like the process has to be enjoyed, and like you have to work for it. Russell Brunson said in his book like he had to work 18 months to get this book published, this Expert Secrets. And that's totally different from 24 hours. Like it's just no correlation. But yeah, thank you for those answers. Um, that's all I have, though. That's all the questions I have today.
All right, cool. Well, we'll see you guys here again tomorrow at 12 p.m., 12:30 p.m. around there. All right, Eastern Standard Time. Obviously, I'm still here working. I am an engineer, so
Yes.
that's why I'm in the car every day.
Yes.
But I'll see you guys tomorrow. For more info on For the Hustler Volume 3, or to even pre-order For the Hustler Volume 3, you can do so today at hustlerbooks.com, as well as access For the Hustler Volumes 1 and 2 for free. And if you're interested in any more negotiation insight, because you're thinking, wow, Trevor has really brought the info today, I would love to hear more from this extremely handsome and educated
Very
brother.
handsome, very
You got,
educated.
hey, you can head straight over to castleberry.com/manager and get free access to my management negotiation clinic, which is all about how to negotiate payment compensation from the employee and employer side. Um,
Mhm.
and if you're an entrepreneur looking to scale your business with partnerships, you can visit castleberry.com/entrepreneur, in which there's a partnership negotiation clinic created specifically for entrepreneurs looking to expand using the art of partnerships and persuasion.
Yes, beautiful. All right, make sure you guys check out that website. It's right in the video. All right,
And
we'll
let
see
them
you
know
guys
where to find
tomorrow.
your work at.
Oh, yes, of course. Again, guys, my name is Akoso Casaberry. I'm a three-time author of Back to Cook to Me, Why Every Pregnant Woman Should Write a Book, and Dear Nice Girl, which you can get access to all three of my books for absolutely free at imakosua.com.
All right. See you guys tomorrow. Peace.
Peace.